She's already moving. Not quickly. There's no need. The way ahead narrows, and before she reaches it, she turns. Her shoulder passes close to the wall, closer than it needs to. Then her hand lifts, not searching. It simply rises to a place where a hand would rise. Ahead, the garden door. She moves towards it and passes through. For several steps, a hand remains raised. Nothing meets it. Still, she carries it there, until slowly, her arm falls. She continues across the garden, towards the lane, Farnley Lane, and she walks on. And this is where we have to leave her. On Farnley Lane, outside Newall Hall in Otley, West Yorkshire. Because from here, she becomes much harder to follow. What survives of the story gives us a female apparition, a woman seen walking through a garden door and out into Farnley Lane. That's it. No name, no age, and no description of her face. About the clothes she wore, or when those clothes might have been worn. No one tells us where she was going, or why. And already there's a problem, because I can see her, in my head. And I've decided that she's young. I don't know why. I've decided that she's got dark hair, a long dress. And if I'm honest, I've decided that she wants to leave. None of that's in the story. I put it there. So, let's start with the one thing that we do have. The hall. If a woman is seen walking through its garden door, then surely the obvious place to look for her is inside. Who lived there? Who worked there? Who came and went? Somewhere in the history of Newall Hall, there ought to be a woman who fits. So, I went looking. And almost immediately, I found another problem. Newall Hall isn't quite as simple as Newall Hall. There was a Newall Hall here centuries ago, which, given enough centuries, became the old hall. And fair enough. But then another hall appears. A new hall. So now we have the old New Hall and the new Hall. I know. I went back and read it again as well. But this matters because the woman that we're looking for is attached to the garden door of the New Hall. Well, at least that's where the story puts her. And even that building won't give us a simple date. Behind its 18th century front, there was already another building. High on the north side, a damaged window, may have even been medieval. So, we look at the place. Families lived at Newall. People worked there. Doors opened, meals were carried, beds were made, and people arrived, and people left. And there are names. The Barkers. Later, John Ward. Real people, with lives that left marks in the records. But no woman steps forward. No name catches against the story. Nothing says, her. And the name Newall? It appears in records as far back as the 12th century. 900 years. I mean, think of how many people can cross a piece of ground in 900 years. And suddenly, we aren't narrowing anything down. We're making it worse. And this is where I stopped. Because I've been looking through the history of Newall, trying to find a woman who belonged there, But the story never says that she did. It says that she was seen walking through a garden door and out onto Farnley Lane. But that's a place. It's not a life. So we put her in a house. Well, I did. Maybe you did too. And we made her a daughter, a wife, a servant. You know, someone who knew the rooms. But what if she didn't? What if the door was simply somewhere where someone saw her? I mean, she may have known Newall. Of course she may. But we don't know that. Or perhaps we're still asking the wrong question. Because before there was this hall, there was already ground beneath it. And the buildings in Newall have never been especially good at staying the same. They were added to and built around. Old stone found itself inside newer walls. One hall became the older hall because another had taken its name. And then, in January 1926, one of them came down altogether. The old tower had been left for years. Farm use, neglect, weather. By then, it was dangerous. So, Major Frederick Hawksworth Fawkes, of nearby Farnley Hall, made the decision to remove it. And yes, Fawkes. He was related to Guy Fawkes. I know. Anyway, he chose explosives. The charge went off, stone flew, and people nearby, they had to get out of the way. Fragments came down hard enough to punch through the roof tiles on Croft Avenue. And for a few seconds, the air really was full of building. And when it settled, Newall was different again. Some of the stone was taken away, and some of it would be used in the church hall. The great fireplaces disappeared, and the old tower was gone. I started with a woman walking through a garden door, and somehow ended up 900 years back, and trying to work out which Newall Hall was new, and watching some relative of Guy Fawkes blow up a tower. And I still don't know who she was. So, back to the woman. A female apparition seen walking through a garden door and out into Farnley Lane. No name. No age. And after all that looking, I can still see her. Young. Dark hair. Long dress. Trying to leave. I know. I put her there. Giles. Signing off.